Welcome to the MadTrio podcast. This week we have the California Pariah, Jonathan Charney, James, the Fat Man Stevens, and Rob, the old guy.
The old guy from the famous Rob Charney show is here.
And we're going to start with a message from our sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by Audacity, the unforgettable party game for mischievous people. They have online monthly game nights on Discord, so make sure you stop by their Facebook page for event times and dates. You can also grab a free quarantine version of the game straight off their website. Audacity, the unforgettable party game for mischievous people. And this just in from our sponsor, there's a game giveaway that's coming this month or next. I think it's this coming month. If you join their game night on Discord, see their Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for links to join their Discord channel and play the game.
Cool.
So it's been kind of, I don't know, it's been kind of a weird news week. Like there's kind of a grab bag of what I got. There's a Japanese biker revealed to be a 50-year-old man, and he was using the Face app. You know, it can turn your...
You know, this IA fake face programs that are out there could be a real problem. The NSA actually came out with a bulletin not too long ago saying that deep fake on facial profiles could be an ongoing problem with face recognition and security. So
there was a mom and daughter, I guess, that used deep fake to kick her rival off the cheerleading team. I just ran across that article. There's
interesting.
You know, we were talking about a few of us about I think it's my ancestry. Is it my ancestry? My heritage.
Yeah, it's like, no, I think, isn't it my ancestry.com or what?
No, it's not. I know it's not the ancestry.com one. It's one of the other ancestry sites has this new app that's out that you can actually use that'll take an old photo and give you about a 4-second animation, like the eyes moving or the mouth moving or the head moving and something that's a little creepy.
It's like the living photos in the Harry Potter universe, kind of, but not as interactive-y.
Yeah.
Or maybe Disney's Haunted Mansion type of technology looking
type of thing. Yeah, it's a little strange, but people are going like crazy for it. And I meant to check it out. As a matter of fact, that was going to be on my list of things to talk about tonight, and I didn't.
That sounds kind of fun. But
oh, yeah. I mean,
gets you in a lot of trouble, apparently.
I guess.
Or how about Lemmy Kilmister's ashes were put into bullets, then sent to his closest friends?
Yeah, well.
Wait, what?
Lemmy Kilmister.
Who?
Of Motorhead.
Okay.
Well, he's dead, so
he's been dead for a long time.
Yeah, he was cremated.
His ashes were placed in the bullet casings and sent to some of his closest friends. Headbanger Ball host Ricky Rackman shared a photo of his bullet today, while retired tennis champ Pat Cash showed one sent to Ugly Joe's kid, Whitfield Kane.
What?
I agree. What?
It just seems like somebody who was like, the pure definition of metal.
Well, okay.
No?
All right.
I mean, come on, if they made a movie about a couple of stoners smoking mixing their friends' ashes and their weed and smoking it. I mean, it's not.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the movie. It's as stupid as it sounds.
Bernie Sanders came out against Elon here. Bernie said that Elon's wealth is immoral.
I love his comment on that. Did you see his comment back on it? Was basically he builds resources to make humanity multi-planetary, and I thought it was a really good quip.
Oh yeah, he came back actually, not Elon like-ish. Let's put it that way. He actually responded to Bernie very well. I thought, well done. But it's like, Bernie saying, "Hey, we got to concentrate on Earth. Heck with going to space." And it's like, Bernie, you're just living in the wrong time. I mean, I'm the old guy. Bernie's really the old guy.
Well, Bernie's like the true definition of like either somebody who he's the only guy I know who truly successfully failed upwards.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
Because he didn't have a job really up until becoming a congressman. He was burning toilet paper rolls for for heat. Which, by the way, I mean, if you're dirt poor and you got to do that, I'm totally for you staying warm. But
what did Bernie do before he became a senator?
Odd jobs.
Is that right?
From everything I've ever heard.
Wait, he worked on. Wait, he worked for what?
No, that's dirty jobs.
Odd jobs.
He worked odd
jobs. All I heard was just jobs. I'm like,
no.
He worked for Steve Jobs? Wait,
yeah.
Did what to Jobs?
Dirty Jobs. Mike Rose show's coming back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's coming out with another season. Yeah, there's been so many people clamoring for him to do some more.
Of Dirty Jobs?
Dirty Jobs, yeah.
That's cool, because I know he's been getting a lot of crap on Facebook. He's actually done a lot more comments on people's comments and sending him messages and stuff on Facebook. Enough that it sounds like he's becoming conservative. Like, I'm surprised his audience hasn't turned on him. It's kind of...
Oh, he always has been. He just kept it on the down low.
Or no, it was kind of refreshing for him to... One of the reasons I like Mike Rowe, I don't always agree with his politics when he mentions it, but they're totally for, hey, I'm not a big fan of college, yada, yada, yada. So I always thought that was cool.
Trades guy. Right. No, I understand.
It was just funny.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I always enjoyed the show. I like his new show too. I
enjoyed the show as well.
Yeah.
He was a very big proponent of trade schools and just getting out there and working. you know?
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, these jobs really need to be done, so get out there and work.
Yeah.
So you said you had some stuff to talk about.
I did. So I was going to bring up, did you guys hear that? I guess we'll just go with Vladimir Putin is calling out Biden.
Oh, Vladimir, what did you do now?
No,
okay. So
I don't think I did.
Really, neither of you have heard this one. This is an interesting whole thing that's going on between the U.S. and Russia right now.
Well, I know
neither of you have heard of this.
Well, I do know that. Is it the issue where Biden called Putin a killer? And
yes.
Okay, so yeah, I did hear about this.
So Biden called Putin a killer, and so what Putin did on Friday is straight out said, "I just thought of this now. This is a quote from him. I want to propose to President Biden to continue our discussion, but on the condition that we do it basically live, as it's called, without any delays and directly in an open, direct discussion. It seems to me that would be interesting for the people of Russia and for the people of the United States." They straight called him out to do a debate on live TV aired worldwide between him and Biden. And so Biden's response, hold on, I'm going to pull this up. And this was on, let's see, so the 19th. So on Saturday, Biden came out and basically said, "I will get around to it eventually." So he said, "I'm sure we'll talk at some point." Biden said when a reporter asked him what his response was. But yeah, he basically said that Putin is a killer and demanded he pays a price.
See, this is why.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't want to really push the former head of the KGB. He was the head of the KGB for a reason.
And this is funny. If you had not said who had said that statement, and you asked people, who do you think made that statement? I bet 90% of them would have said Trump.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the whole idea that Biden actually said this is, I mean, there are some supporters out there, their brains just kind of exploded.
So I see, this is when people are going to miss Donald Trump and his own, kind of orangish way is, I think it's a great idea. Him and I talking Don't you think it'd be grand? We would talk about all sorts of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would take him about 10.5 minutes to say a sentence, but
it would be a wonderful thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
I just don't see.
I'm surprised. Kind of surprised that Putin didn't challenge Bernie to sword fighting or
Bernie.
Not Bernie. I got Bernie in the mind. Biden. To some duel.
Let's go back to 1652. That's trial by combat. Winner gets country. The ultimate death match. Great. It's like Cyber Jocks, except with giant fighting robots. For Alaska, you're getting,
That's funny.
There's been, let's tell you, talk about that. There's been a number of people in America and in UK specifically who have asked for trial by combat because it's technically still in their law books.
In Britain?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Somebody asked for it for America recently too.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping at some point somebody says
dueling was outlawed, and even dueling was outlawed in Britain. So I'm not sure that. Anyway, that was a thing, but that it was outlawed.
I just think it'd be funny if the judge says, "Yeah, sure, why not."
What's the worst that could happen? You could take out two scumbags at once.
I just think it'd be funny. The guy just brings out this like William Wallace, long sword. What? If all the stranger things, I'd be for watching it. Why not? It's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
There's a movie back in the day that was kind of themed that same way. It's
The Running Man.
So yeah, the whole idea is that disputes are taken care of by combat.
Because the Running Man, and I was joking, by the way, on the worst thing I've ever seen. There was the Running Man with, was it Richard Dawson and Schwarzenegger, where it was that game show.
Yeah.
Which is a great movie.
Mm.
Great. I say great movie. Great movie in the spirit of Real Flicks Reviews, where we said you can still have a very bad movie and still be good at the same time.
Okay. I'll accept that. Because that is true.
John,
unless it's a movie.
You were the only one that really said that.
Yes, because I'm right. You can't tell me that you said you liked Redneck Zombies and all those movies, and it's a horrible movie.
Those are fantastic movies. They are made to be that way.
Made to be bad.
It's a Schwarzenegger movie. They're made to be bad.
Made to be bad. Yeah.
Well. No.
It's like Dolph Lundgren movies. Nobody expects an Emmy-winning performance out of Dolph Lundgren.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even though he's the smartest person on the set, still doesn't mean he's going to be a great actor.
Oh, okay. I mean, but then he knows he's not a very good actor.
Yes, but he's getting paid lots of money.
Well, he was paid money. I don't know about lots of money. I don't think he was ever.
If you do a
multi-million-dollar.
It depends on how many movies you do per year.
His net worth is pretty high. For his acting career, his net worth is actually pretty high.
My guess.
But that's because he's also been wise with his money.
Exactly. I was going to say, my guess with his IQ, the man knows how to invest.
Well, don't forget, though, that the 80s was kind of his big thing. He did the Punisher movie, which was kind of wasn't a big box office movie specifically, but he did... He played a couple of movies where he was played a Spetsnaz. He was in Rocky. He was in some pretty big movies back in the day.
He was in a lot of them.
For his net worth, he's only $18 million. So I mean, it's not high for an actor.
Well, not nowadays.
For his career.
Yeah.
He's really not acting anymore. He wasn't in, as John was saying, it's not a lot of blockbusters, and even the blockbusters that they weren't in a really high movie equity time.
Right.
So, I mean...
Well, let's be honest.
That's pretty good.
Hey, 18 million, you can live very comfortably on that if you're not...
Let's be honest, though. For the time period, that's pretty good. Kirk Douglas only had $60 million and isn't, when he died. And he wasn't paid a great amount of money compared to actors now, too.
Residuals.
So, I mean, it's apples and oranges.
Dolph Lundgren's IQ is 160.
Yeah.
He's considered a genius.
Well, 130 is genius level, so he's way above that.
He's a Mensa member.
Well, so was I, but that doesn't mean anything.
Wow, so that's crazy.
I know, you would have never thought about it.
IQ is considered 160.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a
Matt
few
Damon. I wasn't expecting
of all
that.
people, huh? Matt
Him,
Damon.
I would have. Ben Affleck, I wouldn't
Franco's
have.
130.
Who?
James Franco.
Oh, James Franco. You know, I can see
Yeah,
James
he's only
Franco.
130.
I can see him.
Let's be honest. Matt Damon, you could see being smart. Ben Affleck, you would have been like, yeah, there's no way this dude has an IQ over 80.
No, not, they're just,
No. What? This is bullshit. Sylvester Stallone's been tested at 160. Come on.
I was just going to say, Sylvester, you can't believe it, huh? It depends on who reported that out. He reported it out himself.
I could see that. You can't make that many bad movies and get paid that much money without being somewhat intelligent.
He was in porn. Come on.
He also wrote the Rocky movies, Demolition Man. I mean, he's
okay. But these guys, I mean, you're saying okay. So Elon Musk IQ is tested at 155. You're saying Sylvester Stallone is 160.
Well, what type of intelligence are you talking about? There's a difference, in types of intelligence, though. All because you have 160 IQ doesn't mean you can be an engineer.
Oh, okay, that's true.
I mean, so that's
I mean, there's a standardized IQ test that like Mensa gives out, and if everybody was to take that test, then you could say apples for apples and oranges for oranges. But
and is it a lot of like memorizing shit too?
You know what? It's a lot. When I took the test, it's a lot of if you have a train going at 170 miles an hour and a bus going at 45, and the intersection is a mile and a half. It's those kind of puzzles that they're able to gauge.
I've met people that smart, yet they can't change a tire. So
true. There has been that.
It's like the professor in Gilligan's Island. The old joke: he can make a radio out of a bikini and a coconut, but he can't fix a 2-foot hole in the boat.
Yeah, exactly. But then the show would have been over with real quick. I mean, it was a fun show.
This is true. I don't know. I could see some actors and actresses being intelligent. If you told me Stallone
they're just like other people. Yeah. I mean, there's some. You know what, Sylvester? Maybe just because we see his persona that he brings out in the public doesn't mean that he isn't an intelligent man. I mean, he's fairly wealthy. I mean, he knows how to do stuff.
So, who would you say would be the smartest person in Hollywood? I looked it up just to see.
Okay. So actor?
Yeah, actor.
Old actor or new actor?
Just actor.
Older actor.
Older actor. Okay.
Everybody's like, all of a sudden, it's 20 effing questions.
Yeah.
Male or female?
Male.
Of course.
Sexist, you pig.
No, just because he said older. I mean, they didn't test the women back then. I don't know. Could be anybody. It certainly isn't John Wayne.
So you're saying that she was a victim of the casting couch. You're sexist.
I'm not going there.
James Woods.
Oh.
James Woods' IQ is in between the range of 180 to 184.
Wow.
Now that you mentioned that, I had forgotten about reading about how incredibly intelligent that man is.
Yeah.
He disappeared. He came out conservative, and they just basically stopped whatever he was doing.
What is he doing? I mean, he hasn't been in a movie.
Twitter. That's where I see him.
No, I mean, the only ones that you really see him in is Family Guy. He's on Family Guy quite often.
Playing himself.
And they even have the James Woods High School is where they go. I mean,
right. That's funny. Well, guys, I'm sure he's doing, hopefully he's doing well. He's
having fun and he's retired. So as far as I know, but yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that it was that high. I mean, that's higher than quite a lot of people.
It's way up there. Well, it's higher than Einstein. So think about that.
Yeah. Einstein is 160.
Yeah.
So
See, I still think there's too much.
Yeah.
I think there's still too much focus on, like the IQ test versus what they actually can do.
There's been the argument.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, there's been that argument for a long time, and it is what it is. I mean, as far as it's a baseline to go off of, doesn't mean you're going to be successful in life. Just means because there's a whole ton of very smart people that probably could score very high in the IQ test that just can't make it in society in a regular life and hold a regular job and do what else. So it doesn't mean just because you have a high IQ that you're going to make a fortune. So trust me, I know firsthand. It doesn't mean anything because you got to deal with people so dumb that sometimes you just can't you can't take it. In the corporate world, I had to deal with people that were so just ahead of above you, kind of like, I just can't believe you said something that stupid. But okay.
So did you hear?
I mean, it just kind of shows how you can retain and absorb information. Really, is all it's about.
To a degree.
Yeah. I mean, because I guess how much is there anything on there that's like practical skills, like my
So it's supposedly there's a
like the old guy, for example, knows a guy who can looking at pictures and taking a couple of dimensions can reproduce something almost 1-to-1, like that level of brilliance. But put him in a room full of people, he's more awkward than a fish out of water.
Yeah, but I think the person you're talking about, to be honest, is slightly
on the scale.
His IQ is ridiculously high, but I think he's Asperger's. And so socially, he's so awkward that no matter how high your IQ is, it makes it very difficult for you to interact with normal day-to-day.
So it's kind of like Rain Man.
In a way, yes. Mm-hmm. Not quite that severe, but yes. But I mean, he's been very successful. He's basically a programmer, and he knows he doesn't have to work in an office full of a bunch of other people and try to fit in, because he wouldn't. But yet he's very nice.
You've probably received a lot of spam.
So
and that too,
Mark. There's a guy I wanted to talk about, but I couldn't remember his name because my notes, he wasn't on there. A guy by the name of Mark Rober. You may know him from all these morning talk shows and other stuff. Is the guy who makes glitter bombs.
Oh, yes.
But so what he does is
he
started doing it because of package thieves. So he made this really fancy box that has multiple cameras, GPSs. It does glitter
amazing.
bombs and all sorts of things.
I've watched a couple YouTubes.
So there was one released. I actually don't see the release date, but I just recently saw it. So I'm assuming it's within the last month. The headline is "Glitter Bomb Trap Catches Phone Scammers Who Get Arrested." Huh. So he hires a PI. And it contacts these YouTubers who actually their goal is to screw with scammers, so that he'll actually get control of their computers and do all sorts of stuff to them. And so using a couple of these guys was able to actually arrest some of these mules. Like basically they get the money and they have to some people FedEx the money, and then they'll turn that FedEx money into a money order, et cetera, and send it overseas.
Right.
So basically, this was the guy trying to get the captains, the main people who get all this money. He actually gets a couple of, gets at least one arrested, and he's dealing with the FBI, Department of Homeland Security. There's a footage in here that there's a number on the bottom of the box. The cop calls calls him and basically saying, "Dude, this is awesome." Basically saying this is an awesome piece of equipment you bought. I recommend watching it because it's hilarious. My favorite scene in this whole thing is this chick who gets caught because she has this very fine glitter. He finds the finest glitter you can find.
That you can never get out of anything.
And it's covered in her clothes. It's covered in her clothes. And the cop goes, and he kind of knows about the whole thing. He's like, "Oh, so what's with that? What's with all the glitter?" And she's like, and she tries to flirt her way out of it. You guys got to watch it. It's
Well, something to watch, something good. Okay, how about pet peeves? I have a pet peeve. My most recent pet peeve, I got two, but the biggest one recently has
Dell computer? No. You were pretty pissed off, and we have a Rob's rant about that.
Yes, we do. And what's the most recent computer I bought? The Dell. All right, so I can forgive. No,
Schadenfreuded's finest, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
did shoot it. Sorry. A couple of times. But that's, water under the bridge. Latest pet peeve. So do you guys buy bottled water? Probably not. But I just say.
I do,
Yeah,
depending.
Yeah, but all right. So, I mean, it's almost impossible to live in this world without buying bottled water to a degree. I mean, if you've got to grab something to drink in your car or whatever. So it seems to me that they are trying to get the plastic thinner and thinner and thinner, and so thin to a degree that when you unscrew the bottle cap, you make a fountain.
Yeah.
And it's starting to piss me off because now I'm not shopping for just the flavor of the water or what the water may be. I'm shopping to make sure that the bottle doesn't feel so flimsy.
So now you're like that old lady who goes there and squeezes the oranges. Now you're squeezing the water bottles.
Yeah. I mean,
even worse.
it's absolutely ridiculous.
I can say, sir, stop molesting the water bottles.
I mean, come on. It's just, even my poor wife, she said, would you open this for me? Because she's holding the bottle way out so that she knows the minute that top goes on, it's going to be a fountain because you literally cannot hold on to that bottle.
I don't understand that. Why do they do that? But yet, I swear the plastic on soda bottles have gotten thicker.
I don't know. My favorite all-time water now is a water called pH water. And it's in this sturdy bottle that will probably last 600 million years. But I'm buying it because the bottle is just fantastic.
So is this one of the signs you're getting old? When you're younger, it's that chicken hot skirt to with a low cut skirt to now you're like, dude, I found this really killer bottled water.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what it is.
That's the sign of getting old.
So
you go from.
I have that pinnacle. Well, I am the old guys.
You go from driving
the water you're drinking again?
pH water.
pH water, it's called.
pH water. Okay.
Yeah.
He's writing it down.
The FDA just actually released a warning 3 days ago against Real Water.
Yeah.
Which is another brand of water for hepatitis.
Yep.
Hepatitis in water?
There was a bottling plant that apparently had an outbreak, and it actually, I don't know how it transfers to the water in the bottles, but it did. And then there's been a number of issues there's one of the trends recently with water too has been minerals, adding extra minerals into water. And some of the minerals they've been putting into this water are not necessarily good for you.
I know a number of years ago they were going after like this water straight from streams that wasn't processed, it wasn't bleached.
Right.
It was basically like it's either going to kill you or you're going to get Montezuma's revenge, American style.
Yeah, people will fall for some pretty crazy stuff, and I mean it was no different than recently one of the bottled water companies, it was, talking about their water is coming from mountain streams and all these things. And basically it was coming out of the city tap in the LA water district. And so they said, well, it's kind of true.
It's like your Mexican band story.
So my story in Mexico is when I was traveling with a band in Mexico, and one of the stops was in Mazatlan. And we were in the hotel. And one of the things, of course, back in that particular time, and we're talking about 1970, the water in Mexico was not particularly safe to drink, and so we were always told to drink. Basically, Coca-Cola was the safest thing to drink.
Yeah,
it wasn't great with toothpaste, I can tell you that much. But it was almost pre-bottled water. I mean, I don't think in the 1970s. I'm not sure bottled water was ever a thing. So except for things like Sparkletts waters or Alhambra water that you see up here in Northern California, different types of water, those big, the guys would come with the 5-gallon water bottles and come and put it, once a week into your house. And anyway, long story short, I was, they were saying in the hotel that they had bottled water service on each of the floors, and you could go and, get some bottled water, and you could use it for brushing your teeth or whatever it may be. And then I happened to get up early one morning. I was looking down into the courtyard, and I was watching how they were filling those bottles, and they were just taking out of their tap. right there on the side of it. Wasn't processed or filtered or anything.
So the story about that is bottled water is a scam.
Yeah, I would agree.
It is. Penn and Teller did Penn and Teller's bullshit on bottled water.
Yeah.
And one of the things they do is they open this kind of fake restaurant where they have a bunch of people come in and try bottled water versus tap water,
right,
versus water filled out of a hose.
right.
And they went around and nobody could really tell the difference.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they went in and kind of did a whole thing on all the major bottled water companies. They didn't always go by which is which, but they found that most of them are just as good as the shit you're getting out of your hose.
Mm-hmm. To a degree, because your public water systems have to meet a certain standard. I mean, so doesn't surprise me. Drinking out of the hose. As a kid, like my dad would have rolled over, in his grave now, knowing that, people are paying what they're paying for bottled water because, you need a drink, there's a hose. You got when you're out playing. I mean, I never once thought about not doing that.
Because you would have been like, hey, Dad, I want to go buy some water.
Yeah, right.
What was that, son?
Yeah.
That's he gives you that smack that like makes you kind of blink and restart.
Well, you go that far back, the whole idea of buying bottled water was not in their lexicon at all. It was just like, what? Bottled what?
Yeah, the only thing that came in bottles was juices and soda.
Yeah, so pretty funny. So that's my number one pet peeve for this week.
My pet peeves are still the same, people.
So
James is uniquely persistent.
He doesn't change. He's got the same pet peeve. I try to come up with a new one every week. So.
Oh no, you guys
I do have another.
Well,
one
I mean, the cause and root of all my pet peeves come from people. So
20 years ago, you asked James, "What's your biggest problem?" We said people.
Yeah.
A minute and a half ago, James, what's your biggest problem? People.
Well, he's not wrong.
He's not right either.
So. No, I'm completely right, John. You're completely wrong.
It's all relative.
So, did you guys hear about the mass shooting? It's not confirmed that it's a mass shooting yet. But at the Boulder, Colorado grocery store?
Yeah, I try to stay away from that stuff. It just...
Yeah, I'm curious as to how this is going to turn out because I'm still not seeing reports as to how it's ending.
Well, yeah, I want to get all the information before I ever look at that stuff anymore because one person's mass shooting is another person's, anybody being shot at all is a horrible, terrible thing. Don't get me wrong about that. But what's the definition?
Active shooter.
Okay, so active shooter just means somebody shooting right now. And when you go mass shooting, here's the problem. What's the number? What does mass equal? 2?
Yeah.
3? 5?
Yeah.
Well, where does it become a mass? So there's a number of terms used in, unfortunately, this is a show, so just like any show, but not a news show. There's a number of terms that they use, and there's no reference to how they decide what it is. Okay. John's got breaking news, apparently.
So this is from the bastion of all knowledge, Wikipedia. A mass shooting is an incident involving multiple victims of gun violence. There's no widely accepted definition of the term mass shooting. The United States FBI follows the Investigative Assistance for Violence Crime Act of 2012. The definition for an active shooter incidents and mass killings defined by the law as 3 or more people in public places. Based on this, it is generally agreed that mass shooting is whenever 3 or more people are shot, injured, or killed, not including the shooter.
So they did come up with a number finally. It's 3 or more.
According to this, it's let's see, the Investigative Assistance for Violent Crime Act of 2012. So that's what they do say.
I certainly want to explain that to the families that lose the first and second 2 people in a shooting, and guess what? That's now not a mass shooting.
Realistically, by saying something is a mass shooting, does it actually get you anything? I mean,
you get you headlines, and that's what they're looking for. Okay. Right? The whole idea is to let's get attention of the audience, and we use the word mass shooter.
No, I meant like
active shooting.
Well, active shooting I get, but I mean the mass shooter, like say if there's two people who get shot and news reports it and it says 2 people died by shooting versus a mass shooting that says 3 people. I mean it's just for headline catching. It's not like when the governor declares a state of emergency, it gives you something.
I don't think so. I mean,
so it's basically
we've had some major. If I was to use the word mass shootings, there have been a few major ones in this country that have taken place that I guess even I would label as a mass shooting incident, where unfortunately, 50 some people died and over 175 people were wounded. And that would fit my definition as a mass shooting. I don't think there's any doubt with that. And it's all tragic, but
so basically mass shooting is just a headline term, or it's not. Let me rephrase that. It's a simplified term boiled down for quick understanding. Versus if you say there was shooting with multiple people and yada yada versus mass shooting, everybody knows what mass shooting means.
So I think with anything, trying to grab headlines, may it be whatever news service you name, any of the alphabets that you name or whatever, they want to be able to grab a headline. Why do they grab headlines? Because the more viewers, the more pay, the more revenue they're going to be able to make. So they have to come up with something that grabs people's attention.
So it's a descriptor and a headline grabber.
Absolutely, because if you just say straight, a shooting happened, people go, oh, well, that happens every day. But now you go, it's a mass shooting. And all of a sudden now you've got, oh, what? There's a mass shooting going on. And none of it's good. Don't get me wrong. I am not trying to tell anybody in anybody's family that it's ever been involved with that it's, obviously it's a horrible thing. But optics is everything. And in news, catching those headlines has always been the goal. Newspapers forever, way before even radio came out. Newspapers all fought for the best headline, whatever headline you could read.
Look up yellow journalism if you guys want a kind of a hint into that.
I agree. Oh, that was James throwing his voice.
It's amazing how high pitched James can get his voice. I mean, he's like Jeff Dunham over there.
Well,
aren't you so proud of me?
that was pretty good, James. I did think your testicles dropped already, but
Aw, thanks.
And it's all this time.
You didn't notice, Rob.
He missed his chance. I thought I thought he was just a short order cook. Now it turns out he has a skill that he can sell himself at bar mitzvahs.
Oh Lord, I'm sorry. It was a long day today.
Anyways, yeah.
Okay, so I had my pet peeve, and now we had definition of mass shootings.
This is a low energy. I should have grabbed a Red Bull before coming over. This is
not one of the better shows. I mean, we've been everybody's been a little beat up today. Let's just put it that way.
So we can change topics over to Dr. Phil is now in trouble as well.
Oh, what did Dr. Phil do now?
Hold on. Well, think about this. We got to break. Do you want to keep up to date on the maddest of the mad at the MadTrio podcast? Check out our social media feeds on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or go to themadtrio.com. So Dr. Phil, the quack, is in trouble, huh? What did he do this time?
Be careful what you say.
Alleged quack.
I'm trying to pull up the actual name of the ranch. So Dr. Phil had this ranch that he would send people to.
Oh. Okay, for therapeutic?
A troubled teen wilderness program that he was associated with.
Okay.
And so do you guys remember the Cash Me Outside chick?
Yeah.
So apparently she was sent there, Daniela Bergoli. Here it is. Turnabout Ranch in Escalante, Utah. Now, she said she was basically kidnapped in the middle of the night, handcuffed at 13 years old, and put in a car and driven out there. This is part of the program that she was signed up for.
Where was it located again?
Utah. But she decided to come out after another person, Hannah Arculeta, accused these staffers of sexual assault. And said that there was hundreds of people in this program that were basically tormented, sexually assaulted, deprived of different things. I'm just looking at all this stuff. Like sleeping on a bed, eating food, not being cold at this ranch that they were basically trying to get them to
reprogramming.
What the hell?
Is this one of those reprogramming?
Well, it's like Paris Hilton got sent to the boarding school like that in Provo, Utah. It's Provo Canyon School for Paris Hilton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've been around for a while, but I'm kind
of... So this is basically a group that Dr. Phil's been associated with and that he sends kids to when they're like, okay, this is part of how we're going to fix you. But yeah, so he's in trouble over this as well as, I mean, it's more than one accuser saying that this is going on. This
is still recent. Yeah. This is not something he did in his past.
This was put out today, actually. This article was released.
Yeah, I saw the headline today. I didn't get a chance to read it.
Yeah, so Dr. Phil's like, God, not... Well, and why do we kill... He's the one that's not actually a doctor?
He's no longer a therapist. His license has either expired or...
he has a PhD, I believe.
Yeah, but having a PhD doesn't mean you have the legal
you need
ability.
A license, but he doesn't ever lose his PhD. He's not an MD.
He's a mallard. Quack.
Yeah. Anyways, so
I would never say that.
You don't have to.
I have no liability with the show.
Him,
and I said allegedly that you know.
I don't trust him. I never trusted the guy. I'm always like, I question your message.
So, but is it that Southern accent?
Is this show still on the air?
Yeah,
it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So is it the Southern accent? Because Jeff Foxworthy always said people don't trust with like doctors with a Southern accent.
No, I just never trusted the guy.
Well, it's like Dr. Oz.
He's been like, you're kind of annoying.
Yeah,
I don't trust him either.
It's like Dr. Oz. He's a legitimate doctor. He's like a cardiologist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yet he's been accused of more than multiple times of giving advice that's dangerous and or lethal.
He's had to retract some of the things, and some of the associations with companies and products has been questionable.
Well, let's be honest.
But I'm not sure he's practicing anymore.
I thought he was.
He was for a while when the show started, but I think now he became so popular, he was making uber money compared to being a doctor.
Good for him. His liability insurance has got to be a hell of a lot less. Yeah. But he's an Oprah golden boy. I mean, let's be honest. Once Oprah makes you, it's really hard to screw up. You know, because even now Oprah still has a lot of stroke. I mean, she just had that interview with the former royal couple.
Yeah, no, it was actually a very good interview, I'll be honest with you.
They're having to retract a couple of things because people are going after him hardcore. There was an article, I saw an article or headline talked about, no, they didn't really have a backyard thing. Was it backyard wedding? There's a couple of things, but this is what happens. It's media, and you're talking against their royalty, but they're not.
That's the point. And all those things were coming from Britain. Yeah. That was not U.S. press. That was the typical.
You can't trust Britain.
Tabloid press in Britain is terrible.
I'm kind of surprised, honestly, that Americans care so much about like royalty.
Oh, it's just fascinating. I mean, we kicked their butt, and so now we can just laugh at them saying, that'll teach you to keep the king and queen where we're.
But I've gotten people actually offended going, she's the queen. This is a quote. She's the queen. You got to be more respectful. It's like, no offense. In 1776, I think it's just like, it's like, and she was a native born Irish woman, who immigrated to the United States.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know how common it is for an Irish or Scottish people to be very.
She was Southern Irish.
So she was the. Does that make her like the like? Is that comparable to like Southern? So the people from the South in America.
Yeah, similar.
Banjo playing.
Yeah.
Da da ding 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 ding.
So,
or no, Scots Irish.
They make their own whiskeys.
Yeah,
well.
So you like the Scots Irish? Nobody wanted them, so they came over here and went to Appalachia.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did that.
They did that.
Look up the Scots Irish.
I know.
Popcorn Sutton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good for them. I mean, well, I think the whole idea about the royalty and the whole thing. It's just kind of as an American, I think it's kind of fun just to look at and just go, oh, okay. I mean, I have no reason to disrespect the Queen. I don't think she's anything better than anyone else. I mean,
I look at the royal family as some of my female friends look at shoes. That's cute. That's as bad as I go.
It's fun to watch and listen to, and look at all the bickering about and find out. When you start studying the royals, it's pretty amazing how terrible they really are.
Yeah, I was going to say twisted they are.
Yeah, I mean, between all the incest that took place in some of it and some of the weird combinations of, an English queen or an English king and a Spanish queen or a German prince and the British princess, which we kind of have now.
They don't.
It's weird stuff that went on.
That explains why they,
That's an understatement, Rob.
that explains why the future king looks like he could fly. I mean, he looks like a Disney pachyderm.
When you study I kind of really feel bad for Charles. Now, did he
Chuck?
Did he screw up majorly? In my opinion, multiple times. But man, what a shitty childhood that guy had.
Well, let's be honest. I'm not a defender, but everybody screws up, and he's put in the worst limelight possible of being a royal family member.
Oh yeah.
And then whatever happened with Diana, who she was incredibly loved, and he was seemingly despised. So I mean, nobody's been put in a position.
Especially after he went for Camilla.
Yeah. So that he was put in. I get that. I mean, I find it fun poking the bear a little bit.
But see, I actually have empathy for Charles. I mean, I hate to say this, but
Chuck.
I mean, he was. I mean, if you look up his childhood and what this guy went through, and his father, what a piece of crap that guy is. I hate to say it.
Which one was it? Philip.
He just. I mean and I know there are probably plenty of British people listening to this show right now that are going to be calling in. Fortunately, they're 7 hours ahead of us. So. But anyway,
calling
nobody's going to answer.
Is there a secret number that I'm not aware of?
So
911.
Yeah,
but Prince Philip was screwed around too. I mean, let's be honest. Everybody was a victim in that circumstance, except maybe the Queen, and I don't know enough about her end. Because I watched a special years ago talking about what the royal family did to him.
To Prince Charles.
To Philip. Basically, he lost everything. Like he did. He lost his ability to. And by the way, he voluntarily did this. It's a choice. It's not like Prince Charles. So it's not like Chuck.
Live the life of luxury for the rest of your life. He gave up some things. Oh wow. It's just like. It's terrible. But anyway.
Wah?
Wah.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously. That's my...
Wah?
Just wah. Forget it. I have no empathy for the guy. I really don't.
Well, he's 91. He's
99.
Is he 99?
Yeah.
I think it was 91.
No.
Good genes on that dude.
God.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's...
Look at his mom.
Queen mother.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so I was just trying to say that I have a little empathy for Charles because I just, crappy. It may sound like it's a great life to live coming up as the prince, but my God, stuff that he had to go through is just. Would screw up anybody. Just to be honest with you,
I wouldn't want to be the musician, and I wouldn't want to be the person because that position, anything like that, especially if you've paid attention to history or any sort of fantasy fiction novels. It never goes well for princes or princesses. Look at Game of Thrones. In some respect, that may be autobiographical. If you talk about,
I don't know. It seems there are an awful lot of happy people in Game of Thrones.
After the fact.
Well, they had plenty of fluffers. So.
Wow.
Hey, they started it.
Rob.
They started it, not me.
And now James is going for the reach around. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the bluest episode of the MadTrio show ever because everybody's really tired.
Good job keeping the show PG.
Yeah, we kind of blew that for this episode. You'll have to put a warning label
You're
on
still
it.
going, Rob. Change your terminology.
It's the old guy's turn.
Yeah,
it's usually Ryan. It's my turn, I guess.
The load's all over the wall now.
We apologize to our viewer who made the request.
That's right. That's what makes the show so entertaining. You never know what's going to come out of our mouths.
We haven't had any alcohol either. Not like playing our sponsor Audacity, which is an amazing drinking game. Talk about that, ladies and gentlemen. They do have coming up next month, I believe, a game giveaway. Please check out their Facebook, Audacity.
We need more money out of it. Our one major sponsor, we're not getting enough.
Hey, they're great people. I talked to one of the Audacity people weekly. They're awesome people.
I have no doubt about it. Anyone that's willing to put up with us and our show, they've got to be great people.
Right? I mean, somebody needs a drinking game, a little social lubricant to get yourself kind of really wondering how hammered you can get. It's like it's going to be cussing, a really bad joke. Because some episodes, if you talk about cussing, you're going to be absolutely knackered by the end of it. You're going to need a driver to get you to your bed.
Dead air. Nobody had anything to say to that.
Talk about alcohol. James brought up last week how you can import English Scottish whiskeys for no fee. I did recently read this year that exporting it to there's a cost.
Really?
They have
it's like 25%.
Yeah, they have tariffs on our alcohol going over there.
So there were a lot of distillers apparently really pissed that you can get it in for cheap, but they didn't do it the other way around. Which I can understand. Let's be honest, it's a small country.
That goes on with every commodity. I don't care what it is. Maybe cars, the corn, to alcohol, to one country have a tariff, another won't, vice versa. It's just the world.
And I just thought it was funny that the fact of you can get amazing alcohol for free. Never mind the American stuff.
Just imagine if they didn't have a tariff of our alcohol going over there. Just imagine how we could flood that country. Because remember, they're a little island.
It would.
There could literally
flood the country.
We could literally flood that country with.
I could see
Johnny Walker.
I can see it now. The great great whiskey disaster.
Yeah,
it'd be in the newspaper. London drowned by American whiskey.
That's right. Instead of oil tankers, we'll send whiskey tankers over there.
It's like the story back in the day when that thing of molasses blew up and killed a bunch of people. Except it's going to be a giant barrel of whiskey.
So I can totally understand why England has a tariff. It makes perfect sense because they wouldn't stand a chance. They would just flood it.
However, London would be disinfected.
Not that it doesn't need that.
Finally.
But
finally.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe we should flood San Francisco with Russian vodka. Be nice and sparkly clean.
No, our own. I'm not buying any Russian vodka. It's going to be United American vodka. The real thing. The heck with this Russian stuff. Smirnoff.
Wow. Okay. If you're gonna go for something, do was it Tahoe vodka? It's one that's made somewhere around us.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good stuff, and I'm not a vodka fan.
There's Grey Goose. And there's all kinds of vodka for a while there. And I don't know how recent, but for a while there, everybody was making a different vodka. And
Dan Aykroyd.
It was just the whole thing was vodka.
I heard something funny about Grey Goose years ago. That originally it was bottom of the shelf vodka and they could never sell it. So they just raised the price and all of a sudden it started flying off the shelves. I don't know if it's apocryphal or not.
Isn't it interesting how you could take an item and it was something that was just a plain whatever in a grocery store and market it, just market it in a way that all of a sudden it becomes fantastic and the prices go and it literally just doesn't change.
I have to be honest. I really want to buy a bottle of Crystal Skull vodka. It's Dan Aykroyd's bottle, just because it's a Dan Aykroyd like alcohol and the dude's a nutter. But I can't get myself to spend $90 on a skull-shaped vodka bottle.
Is that all it is?
Yeah, it's like 90. It's like last time I looked, it was like $90, but this was years ago, so I don't know how much it is now.
I mean, it must be a collectible. Is it still being made?
Yeah. I used to see it all the time in Bevmo.
So what did Dan Aykroyd have to do with it?
I guess he was involved in the process. There's an episode of the Joe Rogan podcast where he's talking about all the stuff he did to the vodka. Joe Rogan was rolling his eyes the whole time.
Oh, so supposedly Dan's saying that he was
hands-on in it. Yeah,
really. I wonder if we can see if you can get our producer to get him on our show.
That guy's already a recluse. I'm not sure. It's like he'll be like the mad what?
Can't get anybody,
huh?
We don't seem to be able to get anybody.
No. Hey, Dan. I was wondering, hey, how about coming if you're listening?
Would you come on and just yeah.
I'll buy a bottle of your alcohol. Matter of fact, I guarantee if you come on our show, I'll see the latest Ghostbusters movie that's supposed to come out between now and 5 years from now.
Well, I just think that we just mentioned his vodka, how much his stock prices just rose because of us just mentioning it.
Nope, didn't rise. It's not.
I didn't say pulse.
We'll take 25% of your net worth.
Yeah.
I mean, we just helped his stock.
Actually, that's
take 25% of that.
I am actually curious in who actually makes that, or if it's his own.
So research for next week,
if I remember.
If you remember.
This has been the most laid back, spacey episode because I'll be honest, I got like 3 hours of sleep last night.
You know what? It started out as 5 hours, and then it went 4 hours. Now it's 3 hours.
It's dramatic podcasting.
Yeah, no kidding.
Tomorrow's going to be no hours.
Yeah.
You didn't sleep at all.
I didn't sleep at all.
Wake up, sir.
If it wasn't for the massive amount of caffeine I drink on a daily basis, I'd probably be asleep right now.
Okay.
Coffee's. Matter of fact, if anybody's out there listening, send me coffee. I'll tell you how amazing it is. As long as it's not instant, I'm willing to try it. No Folgers crap. Oof. Do not like Folgers instant coffee.
So John really loves instant coffee.
I actually for a while there drank it simply because it was so easy and quick.
Yeah.
You would drink it, but it's not particularly great.
Because
John, you know what drink I actually ran across the other day?
I'm kind of scared.
Balls. You remember balls?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wandering through the store, the Bel Air or whatever down in Cameron Park, and I saw they had balls in like one of their display cases. I was kind of blown away. I hadn't seen that in at least 15 years.
Did you look at the expiration date? It might have been original stock.
I didn't even buy any either. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna.
Probably original stock. You look at that date. It was,
I bet if he was with anybody, they made that really bad joke that everybody makes once they see you how you're drinking balls. They make a joke about fondling it.
Oh, I was gonna say,
here we go.
Gonna say, so you like to taste the balls?
We're back into the blue section of the
This is the most
the bottle is blue, Rob.
It really is. It's like a.
It's blue.
It
is blue.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Sponsor's going to call us. It's like, hey, can you just scrub our name from that episode?
So what do you think about Kamala Harris admitting that she smoked marijuana? This is where we started the show.
I actually think it's cool. I mean, because I actually think it needs to be legal because at this point, I think it's a farce to say it's a Schedule I narcotic. Which, if y'all aren't up on this, what Schedule means, basically, the United States federal government is saying marijuana is as lethal as heroin. Which I've never met anybody who knows anybody who died from marijuana. The only thing marijuana is guilty of is giving you bad taste in food and movies. So I'm hoping that they make it legal because they should. The fact it's legal in Canada straight through.
In law enforcement, we never worried about stoners ever holding up banks. I mean, the fact
Maybe
is,
an occasional round table.
they didn't usually do armed robbery or.
No, I could see a pizza place. Dude, give me some of those crazy sticks, bread things.
So, I just prefer her saying that she did rather than saying I did, but I did not inhale.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I didn't inhale.
So,
you know what? I have absolutely no problem. Here's the fact that what brought this to my mind and why I was even bringing it up is the fact that
the blue balls.
The White House was letting go staffers that they initially picked because they admitted through the background checks and everything, they admitted that, I smoked marijuana in college or I smoked marijuana whatever, and they were being let go. Okay. So here comes Kamala coming out and during her campaign when she was running for president saying, yes, I smoked marijuana in college. So now we have the Biden administration being hypocritical in that the vice president admitted that she did smoke it, and yet they're letting all these staffers go simply because they had. Didn't mean that they are currently under the influence or smoking or have anything to do with it. It's just like the hypocrisy is what is going to really kill me with this administration.
I'll be honest. I actually kind of like Kamala a little bit more because she said she was a stoner. Now the question is,
she didn't say she was a stoner. She just said she did smoke marijuana. Now she didn't say if she did it once, twice, 5 times, 100 times. The point was she just came out and said she did.
So let's be honest. Now you're going to talk about the previous administration. How many people there were smoking weed? Because you know what some of the press secretaries, were outside the backside of the White House going, oh, this guy's not, I think you'd have to be stoned to deal with Trump. I think it's cool because I think what it is doing is, I think it's making it more open. I think the hypocrisy of it is it's standard.
That's the problem.
It's standard. Well, the problem is you're playing to somewhat of the more conservative base. I mean, let's be honest.
I know, but I think they're going to have to, if they came out as the progressive in this competition, right? Because I don't even want to call it an election because in some respects it was, one side beating the other side trying to get, their story. So,
Biden's 80 years old. He's never been pro-weed.
Probably not. It wasn't in his generation.
And I guarantee if something unfortunately happens with him in the next 4 years, that Kamala that'll be on the list of things because as somebody who is the AG of California, it made her life easier because she didn't have to arrest people for stupid things. Because marijuana, getting caught with weed's a stupid arrest unless you're talking about pounds of it.
So the only thing that I've ever thought about on legalizing marijuana is that there have been some studies stated that chronic marijuana smoking can damage and has damaged people.
So does chronic drinking. It crystallizes the liver.
I don't disagree with it. It doesn't mean that, we tried prohibition once, didn't work. Don't think we're going to try that again. So the problem is when you legalize something, in a sense, you're telling the government is saying, it's okay, go ahead and you're safe. You're safe to use it now. And that's the little caveat. That's the problem with making something legal.
I think the cat's out of the bag a little bit, at least for the states that it's in. Like, cause I remember back in the day when everybody realizes all you had to do is if you were a guy, you'd say, I'm having sleeping problems. If you're a woman, you would say I'm having really bad PMS. That's as literally easy as it was for people I know who got their green card. So I think the cat's out of the bag a little bit because the people I know smoked a ton of it and now they're just like, whatever, it's weed. I'll smoke a little bit on the weekends. Now the question is on other states where it's not, like Texas, where they're still arresting it. So there's still going to be some of it, but I think everything settles down because the bloom's off the rose.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is I understand both points of legalizing it and not legalizing it. So I understand the problem on the federal level, whereas, you go ahead and you say, all right, I don't think it's legalization so much as decriminalization. I think if we make it where it's not something where you'll be arrested. So back, if we go back into the 70s and the 80s when the discussion first started happening, one of the things that was brought up is that why don't we regulate it like cigarettes? Because we could regulate it, we could tax it. The government could probably pay off.
I've been saying that since the discussion started on marijuana.
Sure, a lot of us have been. And, our debt could be paid off by the taxes alone.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I like the cigarette argument as much, mainly because if you pay attention, like the state of New York, where they get more money from cigarettes than Philip Marlowe does.
So what?
No,
Have you looked at what you pay per gallon of your gas and how much of that's tax?
Well, yes, I know. I'm saying that the problem is I don't think it'll work because weed is such an easy thing to grow. The problem's going to be then you're going to have revenuers and you're just going to. So I think because of the way that how easy it is to make weed, you're going to have to balance it out with reality.
So the reality is you still allow the home grow. All right, if you want to grow for personalized use. Go for it. You can get I think
6 plants.
6 plants.
7 if you have a card in some places.
All right. So, and grow your own. And you could grow enough probably I have no idea. It depends on how much you smoke, obviously. But and that's fine. But I think if you went with the model of cigarettes, we know that cigarettes at this stage will kill you. Right? Just like, you smoke enough cigarettes, you're going to die of lung cancer. You drink enough alcohol, you're going to die of liver cancer. You smoke enough marijuana and God only knows what's going to kill you.
So you eat enough sweets, it's going to get diabetes and kill you. Why not treat candy like cigarettes? You have to be over 18 to get it.
Because there's no psychological or physical impairment with eating candy.
I used to work at Walmart. I disagree.
So you're telling me if you ate 10 pounds of candy, you're psychologically your brain's going to go crazy and you're going to go out and hold up a liquor store.
I would say cigarettes are. I would say eating candy and sugar and sweets is almost more dangerous at this point than cigarettes. There's a definite greater societal cost.
All right, but my point is there is a difference between the effect of eating sugar and smoking marijuana. You get impaired. You smoke enough marijuana to a certain degree, you're going to be impaired. I don't care what it is. And law enforcement has a problem with that because with alcohol, we've got a little breathalyzer you can stick in their mouth and blow in this thing, and we know if you've had too much. At this point, as far as I know, and there's a number of companies trying to develop this, they're trying to come up with some portable way of being able to tell if somebody has smoked so much marijuana, they're impaired.
Oh, there's a test for that.
Well, there's a blood test.
No. 2 things. Either give them an option of watching a nasal swab too. Watch them 30-second clip of Cheech and Chong, or make them take a bite of a Hot Pocket. If they laugh at one or enjoy the other, they're stoned. Am I wrong, James?
I'm buying you a case of Hot Pockets and just dropping it on your door.
They're gross, dude.
James, don't waste your
money. I know, you love them.
But you see what I'm saying? You see the difference in this whole thing? There's the problem with the argument. And I don't want, no more than I want a person that is so drunk out on the roads driving, than I want somebody that's so stoned out on the roads driving.
Well, they're actually having the problem here. They're having the problem in California where the taxes are so high on weed that they're actually creating a black market. So now they're realizing they have to be careful. So that's why I said the argument with cigarettes doesn't work because it's easier to grow weed than tobacco.
You can grow tobacco in your backyard.
I would say more. I know more people who know how to grow marijuana and how to tell the difference between male and female plants than tobacco.
Okay, so I understand that argument. You're right, but. And that has been the argument against doing the cigarette model with marijuana. So then you go to the alcohol, because alcohol has to be licensed and regulated and taxed as well. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a hybrid of both. It comes up with that's needed.
I do think though you're gonna have to figure out the diminishing modular returns and the point. But
I'm talking on legal. I'm going beyond just. I'm not arguing with what you're talking about because there's always a black market, just like there's still a black market for alcohol.
Well, yeah, no,
all right,
yeah.
So it's still out there. My point is the federal government. If the federal government was the day to come out and say, all right, marijuana is legal, period. To what? Now you got to make, you can't just say, all right, everybody can have 10 tons or kilos or whatever you want to call it in your backyard of marijuana and say, okay, that's perfectly fine. And them not being a distributor. So there's a whole series of things that you got to make up as far as the law goes. It just can't flip a switch and say, okay, today it's illegal, tomorrow it's legal. Because there's all these things that you're going to have to do. And it's societal. So I think we're getting to that point.
Colorado, right, if I understand correctly, from like sapling, seedling, whatever you call baby weed plants.
Baby weed plants.
It's tracked. It's basically tracked from growth to store. Every plant is tracked. There's a tag on it. They know where it goes.
So you're talking about for now.
This is Colorado, where it's 100% legal, but everything's tracked.
It's 100%. Wait a minute.
It's legal in It's legal in Colorado and other states.
So you mean the cartel can come into Colorado and distribute as much marijuana as they want? Now, how are they following the black market part of that?
It's legal until you get caught. No. So so what they do. So to legally do it, they track all the plants and it's entered into a database and all that knows from, if I remember from what I saw on like nightly news, it goes from the place it was grown at to the store to the government, you know.
Fine. So that in some respects, that's a cigarette model.
And alcohol.
The
same way.
Yeah. So, but you're still, I guarantee you they still have a black market going on and it's probably bigger than ever.
The story I heard, it wasn't so much there, like because they couldn't, the people who were selling illegally were selling harder drugs because weed is so cheap. The neighboring states actually had the bigger issue because everybody was going to Colorado and buying a weed to bring it into their state.
Yeah, okay, because it's legal at one state doesn't make it legal in another state.
That was the issue last time I heard Colorado was having. Which is a positive side because then you could really throw the book at these people who are selling hardcore drugs. Instead of giving people life sentences for weed, give them a life sentence for heroin, meth, actual drugs that are, I would say, a true danger to society.
I don't know that states today are doing what they used to do with marijuana, unless, of course, you're caught with such a large amount. Personal use, whatever it may be, an ounce.
Yeah, I think in California, it's like on you, like out in the public, I think you get caught with an under an ounce and I think you're fine. It's a ticket. I think.
And that may be, for most of the country, some states excluded, but I bet for most of the country it goes that same way too. But just simply because they got too many other things to prosecute and arrest people for than to deal with the minor use of something like that.
Man, I wish we found this topic before, but before we just went 12 minutes over.
Before we ran out of time.
So, ladies and gentlemen, quick question. If you care about weed, if it's your favorite thing, if it's your version of the American pastime,
email John.
Let us know. Or if you hate marijuana, let us know on our social media feeds. Any final words?
No, I've said everything I can say for the day.
James?
Sure.
Yeah, that's weak. So,
well, this was fun. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
For the California Pariah, for the fat man and the old guy, as always, thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.